Eldon N. Roth, Dakota Dunes BPI Technology Incorporated, founder and president of BPI. Eldon Roth is a soft-spoken inventor who perfected a means to obtain lean meat from packing house trimmings.
People particularly can remember, now they have quarter-inch trim and all that stuff, so it's much less trim than it used to be. But years ago, you had all that, and you'd take a knife and cut it off, and when you cut that off, you'd always cut some red off. And you really didn't think much of it. It wasn't that much of what you bought. But if you take that times, 33 million cattle or whatever, it's a whole bunch.
A self-educated inventor and innovator, Roth learned about refrigeration and freezing technology in a San Francisco ice cream factory where he began as a janitor. He began a company and started looking at methods to add more value to meat trimmings. On the strength of a handshake agreement with then IBP President Bob Peterson, Roth built the first BPI facility in South Sioux City.
With the process and with the company. And then I moved from California to Texas. And then I eventually moved here to the Siouxland area, mainly because of the IBP had a large plant here, and this was going to be our largest plant, and we made it our flagship plant. It definitely is our flagship plant. It's probably the finest meat plant, or I'm going to say even food processing plant in the world, and it's sitting here in South Sioux City, Nebraska.
Roth has spent the last quarter century reinventing the way lean meat is separated from beef and pork trimmings. Two company slogans are paramount at BPI.
We have two company slogans. Some people only have one, we have two. One is, we know how to do things because we do things, and I believe in that with all my heart. And the other one is, communicate and cooperate. And if those things happen, usually you'll be successful. A lot of people, particularly companies, particularly as they get bigger, there becomes infighting, and it actually hurts the company. So if you can have your workforce that communicates and cooperates with each other, and your workforce that is willing to do things, to learn things, and if you do that, you're very successful.
The BPI facilities are models of cleanliness and technology, as safety and quality control are paramount. Roth likes to talk about teaching employees the BPI way rather than rely on their past experiences.
This is our flagship. We take the young people and try to train them, and been very successful with that. And so you gotta say that's a good quality thing about an area. We develop a lot of leaders today out here, and that's because we're doing most of the technology here. You're doing it here, you're exposing it here. But we've had very good luck with taking young people and getting them to become leaders.
As an innovator and leader in the food processing industry, Roth is convinced that feeding the world will be more important than ever.
Food processing, I believe, is Nebraska's future. The world's got to double its food production probably in 40 years. How are we going to do that?
BPI's success depends on staying ahead of the competition and always looking for a better way, exemplified by Roth's philosophy.
If I was 20 years old or 30 years old and you said, okay, you're going to be here, and I'd say, that's enough, that's all, I don't want to do any more. Now I'm 70 years old and I'm doing smokehouses and all this type of stuff, And sometimes you do ask yourself why, but it's just like a trip hammer. You can't help yourself, So there's something in you that just don't let you quit. So you're never quite satisfied. No matter what success you do, what this you do, there's always ups and downs, and I've never ever been satisfied.
Well, I think I'm the better looking Roth.
Hi, Nebraskans. This is my wife, Regina, and she's been my wife for 40-some years and my business partner. And over at the table there, that's my daughter-in-law, Sakura, and my son, Nicholas, and McNamara, he's not family. And my daughter, Jennifer. And then Lance and the mayor there of South Sioux City, Nebraska. And Nebraskans, you know, what the hell's the matter with you guys? You know, I was, where else but Nebraska could a kid born and raised in South Dakota for 17 years, lived in California for 28 years, Texas for 5 years, and back in South Dakota win the Hall of Fame in Nebraska. Where else but Nebraska? And you know, some of the things that you do in life, at the time you have no idea what they're going to mean. But what was it, 20-some years ago? I believe it was a convention in Las Vegas. I stopped by a Nebraska booth in a meat show. And never thought, came to South Sioux City, met with some of the people, and had extraordinary luck, and decided to bet on the people of Nebraska, and I built a phenomenal facility in Nebraska. And where else but Nebraska, too, could you see where politically people always have troubles and always, but in the Siouxland area, Nebraska, Iowa, and South Dakota cooperate and work with each other. Thank you, guys.